Morning, everybody. Today's special guest is Kerry-Anne Hastings. Kerry-Anne, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very good. The sun is shining in South Shields. What's it like up there?
It's starting to shine in sunny Scotland, but it's a wee bit, it's raining a wee bit. Classic.
So tell me and tell everybody else a little bit about yourself.
So I am at Durham University. I'm studying a part-time master's in education. I'm in my second year and currently attempting to write my dissertation, which is just going swimmingly right now. Jokes, it's not. But it's fine. And then I also play for the university. I am part of the Scotland Senior Women's Hockey Programme. And I also work at Durham School. So yeah, all different little plates spinning about the place.
Fab, and I'm glad we both came very corporate today.
Of course.
Absolutely. So
I should really zip it up.
So supporting Durham University and the women's hockey program at Durham University.
Lovely.
Brilliant. Yes, and I'm glad I actually finally got this top now, but that's a whole new story, isn't it? We don't want to go there.
Yeah, let's not even mention that one.
No, exactly. Right. The reason why I thought it would be really good to talk to you is that we've known each other now for 2 years since you've been at Durham. Your first year, you kind of came with a little bit of injury. Didn't see much of you. And this year, for me, in my mindset, you've made a massive change in terms of your character, your behaviour. Outstanding season as captain of the women's team with Ellie as well. But also the transition between being a captain, being a leader, and what a great year the women have had this year. It's just been fab to watch from an outside point of view.
Yeah, it's been absolutely phenomenal, and like as you said, like knowing each other for 2 years, the 2-year difference has been crazy. Like even my mum and dad have said that I've changed in like my mindset's completely changed. So cut long story short, just to give everybody a brief, because you know about me, Graham, but people don't know me. So I came to university and Durham Uni after having hip surgery, similar injury as Andy Murray. Good tennis there.
Thank you.
With the labral tear and hip impingement. So went under the knife in May 2018 and I joined Durham August 2018 and I wasn't running or anything. My motivation wasn't, like I was at the pitches every single day, like making sure I was part of the team because I know how important a team culture is. But my mindset maybe wasn't there properly, and also like it's quite difficult. I felt quite isolated, but I didn't reach out to anybody. I didn't talk to anybody, kind of secluded myself a wee bit. Eventually got onto the pitch. I think it was October, November time. I think Gaz was like, right, come on, go and get on the pitch and try it. And we eventually got up and running and started ticking over and stuff. But and Claire as well helped out to get me on the pitch as well, and Luke and all the different sports services that we have at Durham. And then I think it was January 2019, I went for fitness testing at the Scotland Senior Women's, first fitness testing back for a couple of years. And it wasn't great. But like I had to start from somewhere. My first fitness testing back after a hip operation like was quite good. And I was like, cool. And then we did a training session. It was one of the hardest training sessions of my whole entire life. And I genuinely wanted to quit after that whole weekend. I was like, I don't want to do it anymore. And then a week later, I think I had a bit of a reality check then actually. And I was like, do I want this or do I not want this? And I was like, yeah, I think I want it. I'll put in a bit of graph behind the scenes and stuff and see what happens. And then a week later, I got selected to go to Italy to gain my first cap for Scotland. And then kind of from there, it's kind of been an upward. And I've realised that to hit your goals and hit your dreams, you have to ask for help and you have to voice it, which I've learned from Graham, that actually if you want a goal to work, you have to be able to voice it and be open and honest with people. And I then came back in August with a different mindset. I asked to see Graham, and from there I think it's just accelerated my progression, like with hockey, my mindset and stuff. Like so from August to now, it's just been, I think I've just kind of gone up and just become a bit of a better human being, but I don't know, I've just got a different outlook, which is quite nice. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that really is nice. And are you a better human being? Yeah, I hope so, but that doesn't mean you weren't a bad human being. And if you read the legacy book, and one of the interviews we did in week one with Ravi, one of the key leadership elements to the All Black New Zealand rugby team is no dickheads. But actually, one of the other policies is the fact that actually better people make better All Blacks. You know, which is quite astute in terms of the fact that if you are feeling a better person and you're behaving like a better person, well, surely it's going to make you a better hockey player. But I think better people make better people. So the better we can be, the better society can be, the better sport can be as well. So a couple of things I want to pick you up on there in your little 2-hour introduction, by the way. That's fine. I'm used to this. You just come in on my door, usually after a swimming session, and go, "Can I just talk to you for an hour?" And I go, "Yeah, that's fine," which is not usual for me not talking. But yeah, first thing you threw out mom and dad there, and I'm surprised there hasn't been a little knock on the door already, but I'm sure there might be an interruption. Do you want to tell everybody about mom and dad? Because I've seen mom and dad recently on the TV, haven't I?
Yeah, so basically with the whole lockdown situation occurring, we've kind of, as a family, we've decided to doing a street aerobics class every single day at 3:00, and it all kind of started from mum talking to a neighbour, and then this old little lady, bless her, we cotton socks, was like, "Oh, what stretch were you doing the other day?" And she explained the stretches, and they started laughing about the hokey cokey, and there was one other, I think it was the slosh or something they were talking about, and they're like, "Oh, wouldn't it be funny if we got the whole street dancing, blah 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 blah." Anyway, it escalated from there, and the next day I came along with mum, and the woman was like, "You missed our session this morning," and mum was like, "I'm so sorry, I completely forgot." And then I was like, "Well, why don't we do 2:30 tomorrow or 3:00?" So then the next day we kind of got out dancing, the neighbours got word of it, and everybody was in the street just doing different aerobics, and from there it's kind of snowballed, and we've gone from having 16 people to 26 every single day at 3:00. And dad takes it sometimes, I take it, mum takes it, and then we're getting other neighbours to take it as well. So yeah, it's just a wee bit of fun. We get some music going on a CD. They have actually got proper CDs and switched them in. They've not got the whole you Bluetooth and all. They have a CD. Mum sits all day listening to the tracks, skips the tracks to see what ones does she want to play today. And yeah, it's great. It's really, if anything, it's been good for not only my mum's mental health, but it's been good for us as a family, but also the community as well. So yeah, it's just all in all.
Please tell me your dad has got this big, massive ghetto blaster on his shoulder with the CDs, and he's throwing out the tunes out.
He tried to do that. He tried to get his little stereo cassette to work, and it broke. So he blessed. We have to borrow a speaker from one of the neighbours. He's quite jealous of it, but he's getting more coordinated now. Though he couldn't do the whole step and clap, but now he's getting there. He's getting a step twist and clap in there now. So yeah, he's doing well.
Yeah, really well. For anybody who doesn't know, Kerry-Anne's dad used to play a little bit of rugby, so that step and clap, maybe run and catch, maybe.
He does that move all the time. He does this whole reach and put it down, and I'm like, why are you trying to catch a ball and score a try? It's up and down, and he likes to pull the rope one. That's one of those other ones.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, and the little quote I heard on the TV for the interview was, "Yeah, Dad's so uncoordinated," and I'm like, international rugby player who's not very coordinated. How did that happen? Did he just get old, or was he just never coordinated?
Never coordinated. I think it was genuinely. He says that himself. He kind of just falls into the steps. Yeah, he's something else, that man.
Oh, brilliant. Let me throw out something else then with your dad, and we've had a little chat about this, but and my dad used to play tennis before me, and it was always kind of I was always Arthur's son more than I was ever Graham as a junior, kind of growing up kind of stuff. And you've had those kind of shadows as well. What kind of pressure for a young athlete like yourself coming through? What kind of pressure having somebody who's one of your parents has been quite successful in sport? How does that affect you?
To be fair, I've kind of been I've not really been directly affected by it. And especially because I've gone into different sports. So because I'm he obviously did rugby and I've done hockey, like the connections aren't there. So kind of I don't feel as pressurized. And also mum and dad are probably the least pressurizing people. Like for me, they're very much, we'll always sit down and have a discussion. Like when I was younger, if I wanted to do something, we would sit down and have a discussion and ask like, do you want to do this? Do you want to do that? Like what, they're very open for me and will support me with what direction I kind of want to go. And I've never really felt pressurized by them. My brother felt it a bit more with the whole rugby side of things. He was at school, he kind of struggled with that because he didn't want to do rugby, he wanted to do hockey, but because dad was dad, I don't know, but I've not felt too much pressure. If anything, I've kind of felt a bit like I want to chase what he had in a way, which is weird. I've never thought of it like that before.
Yeah, but that's also because you're, as you said earlier, you're a different person now than you were 12 months ago.
Yeah.
And that's something that we've certainly been working towards. And, you know, the little thing that might be around the corner in 2022, if we're able to get out of here, is something that, you know, I hope I've pushed you into thinking a little bit more of and taking a bit more seriously.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, I thought that was an interesting question just because I thought, I think one of the things that parents don't necessarily understand is the pressure that, you know, their kids go through. And you're working at Durham School, and also doing your PGC, and it's something that I think you will take going forward in terms of that experience with some of the players and some of the kids that you'll work with in the future, about having that understanding about pressure. And it's not just their performance, it's their performance and how it affects their parents, and both ways with that as well.
Absolutely. Like I think also working at a school, I've realized how influential parents can be and stuff, and how I am very fortunate with, like, I don't know, this becomes Durham has completely changed my mindset. And even like I come home and I make sure that I thank my parents and say just thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to be able to, and driving me 3 hours to take me to a hockey pitch for an hour session, or like helping me make a decision through this. Like that, if anything, they've been just so supportive, and I'm so thankful of them for doing that. And but then you can get the complete opposite. Like a couple of my friends, their parents are really, really pushy, and unfortunately it's pushed them out of the sport. And but it's hard as a parent because you want the best for your kid, and I can see that at working at a school. I can see there's some parents that want the best, but sometimes they're pushing them in the wrong direction. Unfortunately, they're not letting the kid make the decision for themselves. Like, yes, sometimes you need an encouragement. Like, there's sometimes that I'm like, I can't be bothered doing a running session, and I've had a massive, like, breakdown about it. And my mum and dad have been like, come on, like, you can do it, and trying to be diplomatic about the situation. I'm like, leave me alone. Like, I want to do this, like, I don't want to do it. But it's hard. You need to get that balance, that you're not pushing them too much, that they're getting pushed out of the sport, but you're pushing them, so then you're pushing what they would like to be pushed in, kind of thing. So yeah, I think that's what
it's fine line between wanting what's best for your kids and pushing them a little bit or driving them away. It's very difficult, and I think parents don't necessarily have any help with that. No. And I think that's where sport really needs to be better with the education programs. And I know we've run for the last 3 or 4 years, we've run parent sessions at Durham Institute of Sport to try to help parents understand just what their kids are going through. Because you're right, you have some parents who want to live their dreams through their kids' lives. And you've got some other parents who are, well, I did this, so you should do that. And then you've got parents who just don't care. So where do you find that balance between getting it right? And every parent is different. Every child is different. So it's not easy being a parent. Trust me, I have a little 6-year-old, as you saw earlier on. And it's like crazy having kids like that around. Right, okay, so let's go back to you then, because the transformation that I've seen this year with you has been incredible. Without giving everybody else our secret away of Durham University hockey and what we do in terms of our philosophy and our culture and stuff like that, let's just talk. What has been the big transition with you? What is your, I guess, in your head, what have you done differently, and what has been the most important thing for you that's made this change in the last 12 months for you?
That's a tough one. You know what? I think mindset, if anything, is just, I think it's set. I don't like setting goals. I'm very against them because I'm scared of the failure side of things. But actually, the first session that we had, like our discussions, or the first couple of sessions that we had, it was just about what my goals. I'm not talking to you about this, but I think it is important because to set a goal, because then you then have something to aim for. But it doesn't matter if you don't reach that goal, and nobody ever will. And I remember you specifically saying nobody will ever give you grief for not hitting that goal. They will always give you, that's amazing that you're striving to do that. And it's having that, and it's that change of mindset. And you've talked about growth mindset and like what phase you're in, like in what's that model again? I can't believe I've forgotten it.
Don't tell everybody. The Durham University hockey
model. Sorry. Sorry, the grow model. But like whether you're in your fear zone or whether you're in your comfort zone, and I very much was definitely in my first year of Durham, I was in my comfort zone. I was kind of just chilled and I was quite happy with where I was. But actually now I've changed and I'm now in a growth zone. Not all the time, don't get me wrong, like I'm not perfect, far from it, but I'm definitely in a growth, and we're all open to trying things and challenging myself and not being scared to go for it in a way, and having that. So back in the day, when I say back in the day, last year probably, I wouldn't go to the gym because I was scared of the session. Now that's a mentality that I was needed to change. So I've changed that now. I now can make it to the gym, and I have the mindset of, okay, you've got to the gym, that's better than nothing. So whatever I do within that gym, whether it's 5 minutes stretching or whether it's 20-minute cardio, I've made it to the gym, which is a huge step for me in a way. So I don't know, it's just having that, being in that growth mindset and not being scared of going for it. Yeah, I think it's that.
I also think with that as well, as and maybe you're not doing yourself as much justice as you should with that one, because not only are you getting to the gym, you're almost maximizing your time when you are at the gym as well. And I think that's the difference, because you can go to the gym and you can look like you're doing a lot of stuff, but there's no impact there. Or you can go to the gym and then you can just, sweat and put the graft in and work as hard as you possibly can at that moment in time. And I love what you just said there. We live in a completely imperfect world, and we're all imperfect people. None of us have got this right, by the way. We all get it wrong on a day-to-day basis. So yeah. I love the fact that the whole judgment is around the perfection. It doesn't exist. So people who will judge you about the fact that you didn't go and work in the gym, or you didn't work as hard at the gym, well, actually, they're imperfect people trying to measure you on an imperfect world and an imperfect system. And as long as you get to the gym and you do as much as you can, or be the best that you can be at that moment, yeah, that's about it, isn't it? Yeah. Is it that simple? Yeah.
Yeah.
The last 10 years or so, I've been doing a lot of work with Sport Northern Ireland, and I said to them, originally it was some work through UK Coaching, and then as a freelance consultant. And I also, why do you keep paying me to come back? Because it's like 10 years or so now. And they're like, well, you just, you're easy to work with, Graham. And I said, well, what does that mean? And because that's such a kind of easy to work with. How do you take that, positively or negatively? And they're like, well, you turn up. And I was like, yes, that's good. I turn up. I mean, some consultants don't turn up. They're like, yeah, some consultants just don't even turn up. And I was like, okay, that's good. I turn up. And you do a really good job. I was like, well, that's good. And then they go, well, and actually some of the stuff is really stimulating. I said, well, that's good. And actually you're always engaging it, you're passionate and you're enthusiastic. And I was like, yeah, that's good. Which sounds a lot better than you're just easy to work with.
Yeah.
But it's that whole concept about, well, I just went to the gym. Well, no, you didn't just go to the gym, but you've got to get out of bed and you've got to get in the car and you've got to mentally be tuned in to get to the gym. You've got to take your stuff. And then when you got there, you've got to work as hard as you can on that day in that hour. And that might be 70% of your best. But on that day, that's all you can give because you're tired, you've done some work on your disc or whatever it is. But I always think if you're at 70% when you walk in the gym, you've got to give me 70%. And then one. If you can give me 71%, then actually we're doing fab, because that's always just pushing that barrier a little bit. And I talked to Alison Dixon this week, She's a marathon runner who's been in the Olympics, and I think she holds the world record for ultra marathons, something like that. And she was like, Graham, every time you feel tired when you're running in your head, that's your head, because your legs have got at least another mile, 2 miles in them. It's your brain that's stopping it. And it is such a mental thing. And for me, with you, is you've just turned it mentally. You had all the attributes physically and technically and tactically. You know, you had all of that, and you had the leadership skills. You just weren't showing them because you just hadn't switched that part of your brain on. And that's been a big turnaround in terms of what you've done this year. So that's you, and you've been fab this year. How do we explain the women's hockey program? Because that's been a brilliant program this year. The girls have been great. What is the change there?
It's just been amazing. I don't know. We've had a new group of freshers coming in, and we had a couple of returners coming in. And it's not saying that. The thing is, last year we had a great team. Like it was a very, very good team. But this year, like it probably was on par, but there was just a different mindset. Again, it's a different mindset to it, but that came from we started a culture for the freshers to come in, and I think we had about, I don't know how many, we had quite a few freshers, so we had to make an impact with them straight away to realize what they've come in for, and we wanted to kind of like mold it into like, okay, what do we want out of the program? And we kind of made it more personal to them, of like, why did you come to Durham? Like what drove you to there? And like it was interesting to hear all of their alignment like came together, where they all wanted to play a good level of hockey and they all wanted to have some fun, but then we can still have that balance. You can still have fun and still play phenomenal hockey, and it's whether it's the quality that you put into each side of it. And it's definitely like the team cohesion and gel from it. And your sessions that we started in August for pre-season, we started your sessions a lot more quicker. I think we had a lot more, and it gave time just people to talk rather than about hockey, but just kind of talk about life and understanding. I think it's more the understanding themselves, because it's quite, some people don't think about that. They kind of just like rock up to the hockey pitch and like, okay, today I'm just going to train. But they don't realize that they've got loads of different influences coming at them. So they've got an assignment due in a week's time, or they've unfortunately had a family crisis at home, and that's been getting brought onto the pitch. And I think a lot of that happened last year, but then this year we've learned and trained of like, how can you remove them from that situation and just train, solely focus on training and your game stuff. But also we've created this culture, and we've got words that we use that we all understand and we all work together. And if the coach says it, we're like, okay, I understand what you're saying, kind of thing. So I think it's just changing a different culture. But as one, we've changed the culture together rather than people dictating what we have to do.
I was going to say, you guys have embedded the words, and they're your words. And if we talk about culture all the time, instead easy culture, pick 3 values, and everyone goes integrity, yes, because we all want to be having integrity as human beings. But it means nothing, and you know, because you'll have heard it at least 2 years from me, is that, you know, whatever word you guys pick, especially Durham University, because you guys are all smart people, intelligent people, and you're going to pick the words. You are. You're going to pick the words that I want to hear, because actually, they're so nice. And yes, discipline, I love that. But actually, we stayed away from there. And I forced you guys to pick words which mean something, and forced you guys to pick words that actually you could implement on a day-to-day basis. And they're yours, and they'll always be yours for this group this year. Whether it's tweaked next year or not depends on what we do in terms of our culture. And that's between us at Durham University, isn't it? And that stays in-house. But defining those words are really important. So I'm going to finish off with one more question. Otherwise, because I could talk to you all day about you and hockey and everything, and because it's just an enjoyable part of my job. But I asked Alison Dixon about the Olympics this year, because she was in Tokyo and she ran in the marathon in Tokyo, where literally it was only the performance runners ran because of the coronavirus. Everything else in terms of the masses was stopped. And I said, 2020 Olympics, were you in? And she's like, Graham, I'm like 42. I don't think I am. And I'm like, okay, right. What are you thinking now, though? So I asked her the question, you know, will she have a little go at the Olympics next year? And you can watch the video. and the answer's there. But what about 2022 for you? It's something I've been pushing you for. What's your thoughts? What's your goals on that? What would you like to do?
Okay, I'm going to word this properly because I would like to be part of the Scotland senior women's team involved in the Commonwealth Games in 2022. And that started, the first time that I said that to you, I said that I want to be part of the training squad. And you're like, why the training squad? And I was like, because I can still be part of it. I know that I'm not going to get there, but like I can still try and be part of the training squad and work towards. And he was like, well, why not the full squad? And I was like, well, I'm not going to get there. And so that in August was a fixed mindset. And I was like, I'm not getting there. So what's the point of me saying that? But now I'm in a growth mindset that I want to get into the squad. And whether I do or I don't is a different story, but that's my aim. And I need to push myself and drive myself to try and get there. And yeah.
Love that. And it's out there now. It's out. And I know that you will do everything in your fitness and your mindset in terms of your work ethic to do as much as you possibly can to give yourself the best chance to do that. And that's all we can do. And you're right. If you get there, brilliant. That's the goal ticked off. If you don't get there, it doesn't matter. You're a better person. You'll be fitter. You'll be technically better. You'll be tactically better. You'll be mentally better. You'll be a better hockey player than what you are now. And that's the levels. And as long as we're working towards that, that's as much as we can do. So on that note, Kerry-Anne, good luck. I will help you as much as I can when we get back. And thank you very much for joining us. For everybody else out there, please subscribe. I'm sure Kerry-Anne will get all of her hockey people to come and have a little look and subscribe and just watch the channel. There's a lot of Olympic athletes coming up, a lot of world-class coaches coming up as well. So make sure you do that. I'll also put together a little Kerry-Anne top tips on mindset that you guys can download. It's on a PDF and you can share it and use some of the activities that we've worked through over the last year and have some fun with them. But thank you very much. Enjoy Scotland.
Thank you.
Say hi to Mum and Dad. We'll speak soon.
Of course. See you later.
Bye.